Thursday, August 30th. I'm Scott.
I'm Rim.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, how to not suck at making YouTubes. Let's do this.
Yeah, so I'm taking tomorrow off at work.
Yeah, my coworker's taking tomorrow and Tuesday off. I think I'm going to be going to work and not doing so much there because we sort of cleared up all the work to be done, you know, for the 3-day weekend, and we didn't make any new work to do.
Well, why not just not go in?
Because I need those days for other times.
But we could be playing natural selection all day tomorrow.
We'll be playing natural selection a whole lot on Sunday and Monday. Do not fear.
Yeah, it's probably good because if you were here, we'd just be playing. But I'm at least going to spend some time installing that NIC that'll actually work in Linux and then fixing my computer so I can easily boot into Windows.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Because right now, it's sort of not so good over in your department. But it's really great in my department.
Well, the issue I've got, it's just you don't have to boot into Linux anymore.
I do. I do quite often. That's where all my music and my movies and stuff are.
Yeah.
And all my files.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's just kind of hot, and I'm kind of tired and blah.
What do you have to be tired about?
I don't know. Just am. Maybe it's that article I read that was like, hey, don't use technology before you go to bed so much or you'll be all tired.
Actually, I read an article like that, I think 3 or 4 years ago, and I've been trying to do that since then.
Yeah, I've been trying to read before I go to sleep instead of technologying and emailing. But the problem is, I've done it all this week, actually. The problem is I end up reading for way long. And
you do that thing where you just keep reading and then eventually
I keep reading until I can't hold my eyes open anymore.
You ever get that point where you think back and you realize that you didn't actually read like the last 10 pages, you've just been flipping?
Oh, I hate that so much.
And then you're trying to flip back like, man, how far did I go?
Yeah, what I have been doing, though, is I've been reading. I'll just get right into it. I got no news. I'm going to do a Geek Back.
You mean a Geek Bite?
All right, Geek Bite. That's
Way
how
to
tired
fuck it
I
up.
am.
Way to fuck up the new thing.
Yeah, doing a Geek Bite on these books I'm reading. So I'm actually been doing a thing with these books where I haven't been using a bookmark or anything. So whenever I have to stop and start reading again, I end up like skimming through like the most recent chapters until I find the spot where I left off.
You know, I've always done that, and I really think it's the best way to read books.
Yeah, I think it's actually a really great way, because then if I just start where the bookmark is, I might forget something important, and I've remembered a lot of things because of this, and it doesn't really take me that long to get back into the book after I've, stopped reading and pick it up again. And also, I mean, I've read almost 2 of these books within like 5 days. Let me talk about the books. So Rim knows, and some of my friends know, I'm not a fan of novels that have, labels on them professing that they are part of some licensed property.
So none of those Forgotten Realms,
Forgotten Realms,
Mech Warrior,
Shadowrun,
Star Trek,
Battletech. None of these books really interest me because I say, wow, that person couldn't come up with an original story. They just took this world and put another story in it so they could milk off the people who were, like Star Trek fans will buy the book no matter what, even if the book sucks. There's no reason to read these. And one licensed property that has novels is, of course, Star Wars, which I am more a fan of than any of the other licensed properties which have novels in the sci-fi section. And while, obviously, I think many Star Wars novels are fan fiction, basically, and many people agree, everyone has always professed that the Timothy Zahn, like Admiral Thrawn series of books is not bad, and in fact, the best. So I said, well, if I read the best, I'll know that all the other ones are worse than that, and I'll be able to judge from there.
Now, what I can say, because a lot of you might not know about Admiral Thrawn, I didn't know about him until one of the best games ever made came out, a game called TIE Fighter.
Such a simple name.
And remember, that's a game that got a 97 in PC Gamer.
It's definitely one of the top 10 games ever.
The only game to beat it in any reasonable span of time was
the PC CD-ROM release of TIE Fighter.
Yes, which got a 98 because it was slightly better.
Yep.
But in that game, there was, you saw in the opening movie, which the movie's kind of lame by today's standards, but back then, in that era of computing, that opening movie was fucking amazing.
It was pretty good.
And it talked. It talked.
Maybe you could watch it on YouTube. We should try to find a link.
Yeah, I'll try to find one. But anyway, you get to see a big, scary-looking blue guy, and is Admiral Thrawn, and you don't know much about him.
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Other than that, you get the impression that he kicks at... Actually, back then, no, he was only Vice Admiral Thrawn.
Oh.
I believe Darth Vader says, signal Vice Admiral Thrawn to have our TIE squadrons launch immediately.
Uh-huh.
Or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Anyway.
From reading these books, I can tell that the Star Wars outside of the 6 official movies continuity is totally crazy and all over the place and not so contiguous between video games and books and things. But it's self-consistent within, I guess. If you just, like, watch the 6 movies and then read these 3 books, it's pretty contiguous. I mean, the first 3 movies, like episodes 1, 2, 3, not so perfectly contiguous, but it's pretty close. You can bend the rules and get away with it.
It's one of those, don't worry about it, just go with it kind of things.
Yeah. I mean, these are written, I guess, in the early 90s, so after Return of the Jedi and before the Crapfest, Phantom, whatever. Yeah. So anyway, I'm reading them, and everyone says they're the best Star Wars books, and well, I could say they're better than fan fiction. So knowing that the rest are fan fiction, I guess everyone agrees that these are the best because they are. Now, they're not like literary masterpieces of all time or anything. Don't go fooling yourself about that. But if you like Star Wars universe, and you like Horatio Hornblower books or the Lensman books or, you know, a novel with not so much deep meaning or symbolism, but, you know, a story of people are all badasses trying to beat each other out with lots of twists and turns and details and tricks and things like that, it's worth your time to read it because, like I said, I've read 1 3/4 of these 3 books in like a week, so it doesn't take very long. It's a quick read, and I'll probably go buy the 3rd one because I'm gonna finish the 2nd one real soon. I'll go buy the 3rd one at like the Barnes and Noble tomorrow or something. And then I'll probably be done with Star Wars books forever, and that'll be the end.
They'll probably be done with Star Wars forever at that point.
Pretty much. Except I could watch those original 3 movies over and over.
You know, I kind of want to watch Return of the Jedi right now.
I kind of want to watch Return of the Jedi right now. Also, yeah.
Maybe this weekend, not tonight.
We got to get some DVDs or something.
So, speaking of Star Wars, this one's kind of complicated. I got a news here, and you're going to have to bear with me.
Is it actually Star Wars related?
Yes.
Holy crap.
You just watched it. Right, so I'm going to explain this because you got to just bear with me, and at the end, you'll see where I'm going with this. So, a guy ran for school board in some town.
Awesome. School board is awesome to run for.
And he made a little commercial that was basically, he is a Jedi, and he's going to, with his lightsaber, save the day in the school. And it was cheesy, but yet...
That definitely get all the nerds at the school to vote for him. All the 18-year-old nerds, anyway.
Plus, what little we learned about his...
And all the nerdy parents.
His stances on various educational issues, I would have voted for him.
Yeah, he said that he is displeased with the Leave No Child Behind Act.
It displeases him, I see.
I see he will open up some sort of Jedi Academy to train the students with the Force.
I figured he'd just choke death anyone who opposed him.
I don't know. What color was his lightsaber? Did he shoot any lightning from his fingers or not?
It was kind of white.
Oh well.
But anyway, so he made this video. And then he put the video up on the YouTubes or something like that. Of course,
because he's an awesome person. Anyone who's awesome enough to run for school board with a Star Wars commercial also guaranteed to be awesome enough to put that video on YouTube.
So then, not too long ago, someone took this commercial and aired it on TV with some humorous commentary of their own. This someone was VH1.
You know, I've noticed there's a lot of, professional, and I don't know, I want to say professional, but like mainstream, big time media that's scooping up a lot of our, homegrown content and using it for their own purposes. And sometimes that's okay, and sometimes it's not.
Well, usually it's not, because a lot of times these companies don't actually understand or agree to the Creative Commons license.
Well, I don't know. Did the guy put it up under Creative Commons license? He might have
I'm
just
just talking
put it
about
up.
in general.
Yeah.
But in this specific one, regardless, you could say pretty clearly that it was fair use, but yet maybe not, because on one hand, they broke it down, and while they aired the whole thing, it was pretty short, and they kind of humorously ha-da-da, ha-da-da, ha-da-da on their show about it.
That is a vague thing. I didn't think. It could be fair use. That's right.
Well, the argument is it is fair use for everything except the fact that VH1 and this whole thing is purely commercial and was purely making money, and the argument could go either way, so I'm not going to get into
You need
that.
a judge to decide that sort of thing.
Yep. So the guy says, wow, VH1 made some commentary on my thing. So he takes the VH1 video with the commentary of his Star Wars video and puts it on YouTube. VH1 then sends a takedown notice to YouTube saying that he is violating...
Yeah, Viacom owns VH1, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, so
That he is
they're
violating...
the biggest YouTube opponents.
That he is violating his own copyright, and therefore the video must be taken down.
So that's a vague thing there. I mean, if someone on Geeknights, we have a share alike license, which means that if you were to remix Geeknights, then you would have to put it under a license which is, pretty close to the license you give you. So there's no way that you could remix Geeknights and then we couldn't legally take that remix and use it ourselves for our own purposes.
Yes, a lot of people, this is a kind of viral clause in the license we use. And there are other open source licenses that are viral in this manner.
And that's the reason we chose to put the share alike there, because while it sort of restricts us in that, some people who would have otherwise...
Well, no, it doesn't restrict us at all.
Well,
because
no,
if anyone wants to use it for something else, all they have to do is ask us, and we'll give them a different license.
That's true, but the thing is, it does hold people back who don't want to ask from using our stuff.
Good. If someone won't put forth that tiny bit of initiative, I don't care about them.
I know, but it does decrease the exposure, theoretically, I guess. Or the potential exposure. Anyway, but if anyone ever does anything with our stuff, we can always go and use it our own way. And
yeah, it's basically if you fuck up, we get whatever you use Geeknights in.
Yep. So this guy, I don't know what license he used, but let's assume he just did nothing. So we have this vague, they might have infringed on his copyright to create something new, and then he definitely infringed on their copyright by taking that something new back.
Now,
and it's pretty sketchy what's going on.
The rabbit hole goes a little bit deeper.
Oh, man.
And this is the part that I just found out. So he posted that back on YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. But he only posted it on YouTube because he uses that as a video host. He can't put videos on his blog. His blog won't stand up to that. In his blog, he embedded it, and then he had commentary on the VH1 commentary. So that would be fair use. However, it's the whole work, which puts into a slightly gray area. But two, now...
Did he modify the actual work, or was the commentary next to the work in the blog?
That doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
I figured it would.
No, you can take a picture, like a fair use picture, and put it in an article talking about the picture. So, and there's argument about, well, he took the whole work. So, yeah. And the weird part is, all right, now we have this technological problem where he used a host in order to put it somewhere else. So, all right, say I have the commentary to something I'm fair using on my blog, and I just put it on my web hosting, not even YouTube. What if someone else just links to the bare file that I'm embedding in my thing? Are they now violating? What's the violation? At what point does it not become fair use? And the problem with our copyright system is that unless you have a lawyer and a judge to tell you, there's no way to know. And in the end, whoever has a lawyer and money just wins, because I can't fight against those people. Well, I guess I can because we have a lawyer here, but most other people can't.
It's just more examples of how broken the copyright system is, and, things are going to happen every day, just like this, that further expose all the faults in the system. And I'm just waiting for it to finally fall apart completely. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I've been waiting at least, 5-6 years.
It just bothers me because if you look at it from a purely ethical standpoint,
like 8 years.
I think that the way this should be legally, I don't care how it's written, but the end result should be that VH1 could use it because he posted it freely, but then he can use the one because they took it from him in the first place.
Yeah, that's what I would say we should be okay, because I'm all for the, more information spreading action. It's all cool by me. The problem I'm seeing, though, that's more important here is originally in the Napster days, right? Before people like us were creating content, it was just us infringing on the copyrights of the big companies who created stuff to get stuff, right?
Yep, and they would just sue or send down takedown notices just all the way, because they were always right. It was always the Britney Spears song. It was never like, I made something else.
But now that people are making stuff, we've got the big companies that we were stealing from before stealing back from us. And the law, while on paper we're in the right and they're stealing from us the same way that, they say is wrong, it's sort of like one of those, yeah, the law only is for the big people to protect against the little people, not the other way around. Sort of like how free trade means that the importer-exporters don't have to pay tariffs, but I still can't get a DVD from Japan at a reasonable price.
I hear he's an importer-exporter.
Ah.
Well, what's he import?
Chips.
What's he export?
Diapers.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just getting tired of all this bullshit, and we have the Creative Commons thing, and I have decided to basically strictly adhere to it in all cases, unless I give specific permission otherwise.
Yes, and very few people have actually been given permission, so...
Yep. So if anyone tries to violate our Creative Commons license, I am going to come after you just because I have nothing better to do.
Yep.
While I may not have mad monies for a lawyer, I have a little bit of monies for a lawyer.
Well, also, we have a lawyer.
Yeah, and I got nothing better to do, and I really want to come after you so that my show will become popular and I'll get all over Slashdot and Dig.
Yeah, so bring it on. But you don't have permission to bring it on.
I welcome you to violate my Creative Commons license. Actually, I don't want to say that because that means that I'm not allowing you to violate it. I'm daring you to violate it. To be more precise, I dare you.
Things of the day. So a while ago, I did a thing of the day about Rowan Atkinson. I think it was a fatal beating or something like that.
A lot of people say I look like him.
You kind of do.
Yeah.
But way back, I kept saying, oh, but there's this other thing, Rowan Atkinson Live, like all the different bits in it. And the best bit was the one, well, other than the surreptitious wink, was the one at the end. I demonstrated
You did a pretty good surreptitious wink, I must say.
But the bit at the end, kind of the climax of his live show, was the invisible drum kit. And back when I wanted to talk about it on this show, I couldn't find a link to it anywhere. I couldn't find a video that was hosted of it. I found it. Here it is. It's on Dig.
It was on Dig Videos today.
Yep. So enjoy. This is quite amazing.
It's a pretty good bit. I wonder how he does it. Does he do it with like practicing a routine that is timed to recorded audio? Or is there someone backstage making the audio live, in sync? He could have done it a number of ways, and depending on which way he did it, it's the skill and practice required may be more or less impressive, and I'd like to know.
I kind of get the same enjoyment out of this that I do out of watching like a Penn and Teller act.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's not the, oh my God, he did a magic trick. It's, how the fuck did he do that?
Well, it's I don't know which one. All right. My thing of the day is a bunch of pictures from Cuba, a place that is hard to see if you don't live there because crappy old, grumpy old people in the U.S. government don't want to just forget about this bullshit from like 50 years ago.
See, the fact that Cuba is still embargoed by the United States is just ludicrous, to say the least.
What's supposed to be the point of still having it embargoed? I mean, I understand embargoing it back then. I might have done the same thing.
I mean, back then there was
eventually you're just like, why are we still doing this?
Back then there was a Soviet Union. There was a fear of communist domino effect and all that.
There was nuclear missiles.
Yep.
Yeah.
But there's no longer any fear of the Soviets coming over into Cuba.
Yeah, not so much. So,
granted, there is the kind of pink revolution going on in South America right now that Cuba may or may not become a part of, but that's beside the point.
I learned a few things from looking at these pictures and from the captions on them. First of all, I learned that some parts of Cuba, there's a lot of really nice stuff, which I knew. Some parts, there's some not so nice stuff. I also knew that. I learned that people in Cuba, they can't get parts for their cars because embargo. So they're the best mechanics in the world, and they all fix their cars without replacement parts. And there's all sorts of pictures of people with really old cars, like able to keep them running without any replacement parts whatsoever. Like they make their own parts, and supposedly they're the best mechanics in the world. And I sort of want to undo the embargo just so I can get new mechanics over here in the U.S. where we need them.
The power of necessity, like way back when we did that gallery of interesting tools that prisoners have made.
Yes.
Yep. If you got no tools and no stuff and you need something and all you've got is time, you're going to come up with a pretty clever way to get that thing done eventually.
Yeah, especially if you're stuck on the road and you need to move. There's some pretty funny anti-Bush propaganda that I can sort of read. There's a lot of abandoned, like, big fancy buildings that weren't completed or abandoned or fixed, with cinder blocks in the windows and
There's
stuff
a lot
like
of that in Russia.
I've come to find that, I've read about North Korea and Russia and China, and it seems like in all the actually communist countries, there seems to be this common trend of start an ambitious construction project that seems to be going well, and then scheduling delays or just complete failure to finish the thing altogether. Like that giant hotel in North Korea that's never finished, and they stopped working on it. And in Russia, there's all sorts of stuff like that. And it's like, why does this happen? I could think of a whole bunch of reasons why in a communist nation this sort of thing would happen.
The reason communist nations have that problem is the same reason token ring is not used today.
Oh.
And real simply, token ring and Ethernet were kind of competing with each other to be the way that people would do networking with computers. Communism and capitalism were the two economy ideas that were competing with each other. What are we going to use, capitalism or communism? Now, token ring, essentially, the way it worked is that everything was deterministic and controlled. There was no randomness. There was no chance for error. It was the token goes around. Every computer has to be smart. Every piece of networking equipment has to be smart. Every piece of the way, everything has to be controlled 100%. And as a result, while it was 16 originally it was 4, but then it was 16 megabits per second, you got, no matter what, the full 4 or 16 megabits per second because you knew exactly what was happening on the network at all times. It was all controlled. In Ethernet, you pretty much threw packets out there and you let the network just deal with it. And as a result, while Ethernet was 10 megabits per second, you would often only get 4 or 5 at best just because you're not controlling it. You kind of let it work itself out on its own. But as the scale of networks increased, you couldn't make token ring go much faster than 16 megabits per second because you had to control it at every step of the way, and the token ring bureaucracy got too big. but with Ethernet,
I understand that it's the complications of the bureaucracy and stuff that bog it down. But I'm wondering specifically, like, is it that they build a building and then they mess up and they can't finish it because of engineering? Is it because the workers don't want to work it anymore? Is it they can't afford to work on it anymore? Is it what's
I think
the
it's mostly just the poor allocation of resources. I mean, not to say that capitalism is perfect at that.
They run out of materials,
but in capitalism, at least the system tends to correct gross deficiencies or gross problems. Like, if there's a super discrepancy between the demand for steel and the production of steel, a bunch of people are going to start making steel on their own because they can make some money, and then the market kind of corrects itself. And again, it's not perfect, but at least it kind of works itself out.
Yeah, well, the only other picture I want to draw your attention to is this one of a pretty cute girl working at an ice cream stand. And apparently ice cream is 2.5 Cuban cents if you're a Cuban, or $1 if you're from anywhere else.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff. It's one of those places where they have really nice things and some not so nice things, and apparently tourists, well, I guess not tourists, but anyone from elsewhere in the world who's not Cuban gets all sorts of nice things, and Cubans don't get those nice things. There's actually like museums here that Cubans can't even go to and stuff.
Well, the one thing is, communism on a very small scale seems like it can work. And Cuba was very small and generally prosperous. And it does kind of bother me that I do believe that if we had, after the Cold War had ended, if we had just unembargoed Cuba and not just kind of completely dicked them at every possible opportunity, I don't think it would have been the greatest place in the world, but I think it would be doing a lot better than it is now.
I think it would be a happy place to go on vacation, is what I think.
I just think America, even to this day, is kind of afraid of a communist country being prosperous.
I think this is a bunch of old people still in charge of the government.
I mean, we can't pretend that China is communist, but that's Cuba is mostly actually communist, from what I'm led to believe.
Yep. It's so communist that the people don't care about repairing their houses because the houses belong to the state, not to them. What do they care?
Right. So we're kind of tired, and it's hot out.
So we're going to do a How to Not Suck, which we haven't done in a while.
And we're going to have to break it internally into 2 bits because there are 2 very different sets of rules depending on what you're doing. But tonight, it is very simply and very briefly and very succinctly how to not suck at making a YouTube video.
Now, I could sum this whole thing up in like 2 sentences and we can go to bed, but
I want to break it up. Now,
I do want to break it up, but let me just say the 2 sentences. People have short attention spans, and they want instant gratification.
Now,
keep it in mind.
Before we continue, we're not going to talk about an art film or a short film or anything like that. Those things, those works of art, you do whatever you want because YouTube is just the medium, and you shouldn't let the medium to dictate what your content is going to be. If you're going to make a short film, just make it however you want. We're talking about the YouTube videos, which is the majority of them, that consist of, oh my god, here's a video of something that just happened in the street, or oh my god, here's a video of the prank me and my friends pulled out, or check it out, here's the video of me blowing up my high school. And then the following arrest.
Or like, check it out, I made this, cool thing out of Legos. Or, check it out, here's some crazy thing that I saw in the news. Or, something like that.
So, I think the biggest mistake that people make when they're making a standard YouTube video is that they like to have a lot of exposition.
Basically, when you make... Let's use an example video. You ready? Oh my god, there's a crab person in my backyard. All right? Well, don't sit there for like a minute telling me, all right, so I went to the store, and when I came home, I looked out the back window, and I saw this crab person. No. Your video, as soon as I click play, I want to see your camera pointing out the back window, and I want to see a crab person. That's what I want to see. I don't have time. I have a short attention span, remember? And I want instant gratification. Crab person and only the crab person. Shut your trap.
Now, I'm okay with a short introduction, especially if it's going to be a strange thing or a scene that you're really going to need some prior knowledge to parse.
Yeah, sometimes exposition is needed, like in a how-to video.
Or even in that. I'd be okay. Here's a good and bad. Good. There's a crab person outside. Cut. Crab person. Bad. So I came home from work on Friday. Music starts playing. As in the video, music starts playing. And I saw something crazy. The music's still playing.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
All right. Number 2. Unless you have a good reason to, and you're sure that it is going to work well, don't put music in your video.
Yes, for example, I have a video of Rim setting himself on fire. Should I set it to music? No. You know why? Because the people watching something like that are sick bastards, and they want to hear Rim scream.
Or in the very least, they want to hear me go, all right, I'm totally going to set myself on fire. Ow! Ow! Ow!
And they want to hear the fire, crackling as it burns his pants.
And maybe they want to hear Scott with the camera going, dumbass.
Yeah.
But what they don't want to hear is, ride the fire! Ride the fire! Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
That's exactly right. A good time to put music to something is when perhaps the audio of the video itself is, not going to bring any entertainment value whatsoever. Or, for example, I don't know, you're flying in an airplane and you see something funny outside the window, or something like that.
Like
but
you see,
flying in an airplane, the only noise you're going to hear is jet engine, jet engine, jet engine. No one wants to listen to that.
So if you're in an airplane and someone tries to eat 100 eggs, just film that as it goes. But if you're flying in an airplane
a Cessna,
and you see outside the window a biplane covered in clowns, just da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da is perfectly appropriate to that.
Exactly.
All right, now, number 3. If you're gonna make music in your thing at all, 1, make it appropriate. 2, make it not stupid. I know that's the same as 1. 3, don't use poison or or winger.
All right. Another thing you want to do in the YouTube videos is if you're going to have audio that's not music, you want to make sure people can fucking hear it. Because, how many times do you put a YouTube video on and someone's saying something, you can't hear what the fuck they're saying? It's like a podcast, it's even more important. But in a YouTube video, if someone's saying something and part of the importance and the entertainment value of the video is what are they saying, I should be able to hear it. If I can't hear it, what's the point? The video's ruined.
Now, if it's inconsequential, it's just kind of side banter or whatever, and it's unintelligible, replace it with music or something. Seriously, or just make it silent. It's okay to have a silent YouTube video.
Yeah. No reason that there has to be noise. How many times do you watch a funny guy robs a convenience store video? There's no audio on those things because they have the cheapest, shittiest security camera they can possibly get. And, it's just as good as the ones where the video and the audio are full on.
Now, if your event, not the exposition, but the thing you're filming itself, is a very long build-up to a climax, you don't really want to have the entire build-up and then the climax.
No,
long.
You must learn to make the montage.
Now, this is the one case where you probably should have music.
That
because
is true.
Otherwise, it might sound really disjointed. But say you've got a video of, I don't know.
I got an example. Let's say you got a video of a prank that involves 100 people, right? But it takes you time to collect the 100 people. Well, instead of showing like 10 minutes of footage as all these 100 people start to gather around and someone explains to everyone exactly what's going to happen, in like 5 seconds of video, you can show like a stop motion of like 10 photographs of, the group is 5 people, 10 people, 50 people, 100 people, right? And just go like, and we'll see the group go from small to big in the matter of like 5 to 10 seconds. And that's all I need to see. Okay, a group formed. That you got the information across. You basically want to you don't want to cut any information or entertainment out of your video. You just want to cut time out of the video because, like I said, short attention span, instant gratification. You want to get all the content of your video, everything that people want to see in it, into as small a time as possible without removing any of the good stuff. Plus wheat minus chaff.
If you want a good example of this, watch a show like Mythbusters. Notice how they kind of fast forward through and show just quick clips while they show a bunch of clips of all the setup for a thing. And while they're showing that, they do the exposition at the same time with an audio over. That way, you get the exposition.
And you don't have to sit there for like an hour while they're building things in the shop.
But that way also, you get the exposition, and at the same time, you're getting all the setup video. You're killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Another thing, how many people, when they're making videos of stuff, especially, really amateur videos, do you have the incredibly shaky camera that is always pointing in the wrong place?
The shaky cam is bad. If you can't keep your hand still, don't put it on YouTube.
Or at
it's
least get a
unwatchable.
Steadicam thing or a tripod or something.
Along those same lines, if you don't know how to use a camera, don't film stuff and put it on YouTube, because a lot of people, they just keep zooming in and out, or they keep, moving the camera around, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this.
I don't know how many times I've watched a YouTube where there was something interesting happening that I wanted to see, but the camera didn't capture it because the person using the camera sucked balls, and thus I knew an awesome thing happened off camera, or perhaps I could see it, but not very well because the camera was shaking all over the place. And I just didn't get the enjoyment that I would have gotten if the camera was used properly.
Now, due to the limitations of the size of a file you can put on YouTube, you have to choose between extra exposition or extra setup, or showing me the denouement, the payoff, the end result, the aftermath. We'd rather see the aftermath. If you pull an awesome prank and I don't get to see the video of you telling the guy it was a prank, that's a definite minus.
Yes. It's basically we only want if you look at the title of your video, right? When you put a video on YouTube, think about what the title of the video is going to be.
If the title is "Guy Gets Hit in Balls," LOL.
As soon as I push play, I should be seeing something already headed for his balls.
Or in the very least, I see a shot from far away of a guy walking, and at the same time, a voice saying he's about to get hit in the balls, and then immediately a ball hit.
Yeah, I don't want to see some guy playing soccer for 10 minutes and then a guy kicks him in the balls. I don't have time for that. I don't want to skip through a YouTube video to find the exact point where the ball hitting takes place. There's obviously one part of the video I want to see, so that should be the only part you put on YouTube.
Now, right along with that, don't upload a video of someone getting hit in the balls. It's already been done. It's on the internet. Everyone has seen someone get hit in the balls.
Yes.
We need something. YouTube doesn't need to be nothing but horrible accidents and snuff films and people getting hit in the balls. Cute puppies are okay.
Well, there are also a zillion cute puppies out there. If you're putting something on YouTube and you actually expect, you want a lot of people to look at it, make it something we haven't seen before. Remember, most of the people looking at your video are people who go to YouTube a lot. They go to dig videos. They've seen it. They've seen it all. They've seen the craziest batshit you can imagine. They've seen Goatsy. They've seen that Darth Vader in the supermarket guy. They've seen Ask a Ninja.
So if you've got something, you think, hey, I want to put it up on YouTube, and I want it to be like a big YouTube video. I mean, of course, all these rules don't apply if you're just uploading it to send it to your mom or whatever. Yeah. Or again, if it's a short film or something.
I'm talking about you expect me to look at it. You expect it to be thing of the day material.
Now, in that case, search and see if anyone else has put up something similar. And then think to yourself, one, Is what I am doing the same thing essentially as that? If so, don't do it.
Am I doing it better than they do
That's
it?
the second question. Is my thing better than that? Because if someone has a cute video of
For example,
a cat parachuting off of a building, and you make a video that's 1,000 times better of like a cat parachuting off of a building onto a dog, put it up, because that's better.
That is better. Or perhaps, one guy has a video of, I don't know, I can't think of a good example.
Wow, Scott, fail and lose.
Yeah. 10 cats parachuting off of a building. You can't parachute 10 cats.
A cat parachuting off, and then when the other cat's parachute fails, he jumps down, saves the cat, and then lands on all 4 legs because he's a cat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of want to do a Crapo episode. I think I'm going to go to bed.
I think we should go to bed, but I just want people, when they make YouTube videos, to actually think about what they're doing, put a little bit of effort into it. I mean, if you're only going to put 2 minutes of video on the internet, you should make those a pretty good 2 minutes, and you could put, even if your videos are not the greatest videos, if you actually put a little bit of effort into them, they'll get a lot more attention than they probably deserve.
And one last thing, we don't need any more videos of, oh my God, some skater kids were kicked out of a place they were skating illegally by a security guard, but look, the skater kids gave the security guard some guff. There's been a lot of those lately, and I'm really sick of them.
There have been a lot of those, and so it's tough. It's annoying. Don't make anything that, some people are going to go, get grumpy about. You want to make
What?
people...
Are you kidding? People get grumpy about things all the time.
I know, but you want to make generally the best YouTube videos are the ones that just anyone can enjoy, and not sort of the things that make people upset.
Scott, I would submit that the most popular videos on YouTube are people, well, maybe not the specific thing of people getting hit in the balls, but it is the spiritual equivalent of people getting hit in the balls. That is the majority
of YouTube. I'm getting kind of tired of those, actually.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you don't have to make it something everyone can enjoy. Just make it not be crappy. That's the only thing I care about.
Oh, there's one last thing to take into consideration, right? If you're putting up a video of, say, mice going through a maze, you have to understand that someday someone's going to make a compilation of all the mice going through a maze videos on YouTube. So design your video in such a way that when it is added to that compilation of 100 other mice going through a maze videos, that yours stands out.
Also, if you're going to make a compilation video, see what other compilation videos have already been made, because there are like 1 billion owned compilations, and I think they all include the same clips, just in different orders with different shitty music.
Yes, if you compile, do not compile what other people have already compiled.
Or like the same thing with cute puppies. There's one cute puppy compilation that's like the best cute puppy one ever. Everyone else, don't bother. It's already been done. It's perfect. You're not going to make it better.
Yes, there's supply and demand here, and the supply of cute puppy videos is well above the demand. Even though that's an incredible demand, the supply is that much more incredible.
Well, there's a lot of cute puppies and a lot of cameras and YouTube.
Yep. Oh well, do we got anything else to say?
I'm gonna either play some natural selection or go to bed.
I'm gonna go somewhere with air conditioning. I'm gonna eat some food.
I don't have to go to work tomorrow.
And then get some air conditioning.
Oh, mans. Oh, mans. This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geek Nights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via Audio. Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.